Hello everyone, the new year is just around the corner, which means it's time to prepare the most expensive New Year's feast with no budget limits. First, we're heading to the most expensive supermarket in our city to buy the rarest and most exclusive ingredients. Almost immediately, we spotted a fridge with caviar. Let's grab a jar of the finest, most expensive black caviar. Next, we head to the dry aging chamber for meat. Here, cuts of marbled beef are aged for 28 days to reduce moisture by 20%, making the flavor richer and more intense. We need one of these cuts. But it's not that simple. Before selling, the butcher trims off the dry outer crust. Then the spinal nerve is removed and the ribs are cut away because we only need pure fillet. Finally, the end crust is trimmed off, resulting in a perfect ribeye roll. This is how it's sold here. Let's also grab some foie gras, an incredibly rich goose or duck liver. Next, a pack of sea scallops, pure mollusk fillets already cleaned. We'll also need frozen crabs, 3 of them. Lobster tails, 3 as well. Now let's head to the oyster tank. Of course, we'll choose the finest and most expensive variety. We need 10 oysters. They'll be packed in foil and ice to keep them alive longer. We'll take a jar of black truffle, one of the most expensive mushrooms in the world. As we move further through the store, we notice a champagne tower. Right on top, there's a massive golden bottle. Of course, we're gonna buy it. While we're here, let's stop by the wine section. Priciest bottles are kept in a special wine cabinet. Let's grab one. We'll also need some tropical fruits. A pineapple, red bananas, they're sweeter than regular yellow ones. 1 dragon fruit. And then we pick a ripe mango and half a papaya. Also fresh figs. 3 large oranges. 3 large drinkable coconuts. And 3 passion fruits. Next, let's head to the cheese section. We need Gruyere cheese, a pack of stracciatella cheese, Philadelphia cream cheese, herb cream cheese, traditional hard cheese, a pack of expensive mayonnaise, Parmesan cheese, a pack of mascarpone cheese. The most expensive eggs are guinea fowl eggs, so we're gonna grab those. Also adding to the cart, a bottle of milk, a large pack of butter, heavy cream, also a little bucket of honey. Cashew nuts, pecan nuts, a pack of candied fruits, and a freshly baked baguette. Korean-style spicy carrots, 2 packs of shimeji mushrooms, enoki mushrooms, and let's pick the most expensive onions here, shallots. 2 packs of fresh spinach and 2 packs of lettuce leaves and green onions. For the majority of our recipes, we'll also need garlic, fresh rosemary, 2 packs of thyme, chili peppers, a piece of ginger root, blue cheese, a jar of sun-dried tomatoes, cane sugar, and Bella rice infused with cuttlefish ink, a couple of packs of dry yeast, salted caramel, dried orange chips, a bottle of red wine, the most expensive spice in the world, saffron, and a cinnamon stick. With our shopping cart fully loaded with ingredients for the ultimate luxurious New Year's feast, it's time to head to the checkout and unload everything onto the conveyor belt. We scan all the items and pack them into bags, and the total cost came to a whopping $800. We load everything into the car and head back to the studio. Now on the table are all the products we bought from the supermarket, but of course that's not everything we need. The rarest and most exclusive ingredients I ordered online. The total cost of everything inside this thermal box is $380. Let's see what's inside. First, one of the rarest and most expensive coffee varieties in the world. It's made from beans that have passed through the digestive system of animals called civet cats. Next, we have a small jar of sea urchin caviar. I've never tried this before. Up next is frog legs. We'll cook something interesting with those. Next item, an ostrich egg. We'll be using it to make a salad today. And here's 1 kilogram of ostrich meat, pure filet. Moving on, we have one of the most expensive vegetables on the planet, artichokes. I've got 2 whole packs. Also a basket of porcini mushrooms. We'll need them for one of our recipes. And now for the most exciting item, a whole octopus. I chose the largest one available online, and it weighs nearly 4 kilograms. In total, the final cost of all the ingredients comes to $1,180. Now it's time to cook. We'll begin with the main course. I'm going to make roulade from the marbled beef cut. This cut has plenty of fat marbling, so it should turn out incredibly juicy. However, there's a thick layer of excess fat on the backside that we don't need, so we're going to trim off as much as possible. That's much better. Now, using a knife, we make a careful incision and fold the meat open. We handle this part with extra care to avoid cutting all the way through. We get exactly what we need. To make the meat even thinner, we simply pound it with our fists. Fantastic. Next, we generously season the meat with salt and black pepper. To make the roulade even more tender, we're going to use cream cheese. We drop the cheese onto the meat and spread it out in a thin layer. One pack wasn't enough, so we're going to add another one. Perfect. Thyme pairs perfectly with beef. We're going to strip the leaves from the stems. We're only going to use the leaves. Then we're going to sprinkle them evenly across the surface of the meat. I also want to give the roulade a hint of truffle aroma. So we take the truffle from the jar and grate it on a coarse grater. We use 2 truffles for the entire roulade. Next, cashew nuts, soft and buttery, will be a perfect addition to the roulade. We're going to transfer them to the cutting board and chop them slightly with a knife, aiming for medium-sized crumble. There. Now we spread the chopped cashews evenly over the meat. I also want to add some forest porcini mushrooms to the roulade, but first they need to be sliced. We're going to sear them over high heat until they develop a golden crust. Now they're ready to be added on top of the meat. For a bit of texture contrast, we're going to add fresh spinach leaves. Finish off the filling, we finally grate Gruyere cheese on a small grater. It pairs perfectly with all of our toppings. Finally, it's time to roll up the roulade. All done. To keep it from falling apart, we're going to tie it with kitchen twine. It's simple. We loop the twine under the roll and secure it with a knot. Then tie a second knot to lock it into place. Now we make 2 loops of twine around our hand and we pass the loop under the roulade. And then simply pull the end to tighten it. We're going to repeat the same technique for the 3rd loop. And we'll continue looping until we reach the end of the roulade. Next, cut off the excess twine, and we're all set. Everything is securely tied. We transfer the roulade onto a tray and head outside. We'll be cooking it on a grill. So we open the grill and pour in a full bag of charcoal. To light it up, we're going to use solid fire starters. After 20 minutes, the charcoal is fully lit. We're going to spread the hot coals evenly across the grill. Then we put the grate back. Finally, it's time to sear our roulade. With marbled beef, there's a lot of fat, and it starts dripping immediately, causing flare-ups. So we're gonna flip it quickly to get a nice crust on all sides without burning it. Once the meat is seared on every side, it's time to cut off the direct heat. We're going to do this by wrapping it in 5 layers of thick foil. This will prevent the dripping fat from causing flare-ups. Next, we're going to insert a meat thermometer into the center of the roulade to monitor the internal temperature. As the fat drips onto the coals, it creates smoke that infuses our roulade with a rich, smoky aroma. Cooking time will be 50 minutes. The thermometer is approaching 65 degrees, which means it's time for the glaze. I want to give the roulade a festive aroma using red wine and fresh orange zest. Let's grate it finely. We'll also cut the orange in half and squeeze out all of the juice. Done. Next, we add cane sugar and a tablespoon of honey. For spices, cinnamon, cloves, and a finely grated clove of garlic. We're going to simmer the glaze until it thickens, and then let's coat the roulade. We brush it on generously on all sides with a thick layer and close the grill again. The internal temperature has reached our target, so the meat is ready. We remove it from the grill and head back to the kitchen. We'll serve it on a large wooden platter, but first we're going to cut off all the twine because it's no longer needed. And finally, it's time to slice our juicy roulade. The center is a perfect medium, and the meat is incredibly juicy. But near the edges, it's slightly overcooked. Next time, I'll stop at 60. I'll cut it into portion-sized slices, about 1 to 2 centimeters thick. Then we'll neatly arrange all the slices on the platter. The first and main dish for a New Year's table is ready. But it won't be the only star of the show. The second star of the table will be the octopus. Almost every part of it is edible, except for the beak. So we're going to make a small incision and squeeze it out. It's made up of 2 parts. The best way to cook the octopus is by boiling it. So let's head to the stove. We're going to dip the octopus into a pot of boiling water a couple of times. This helps the tentacles curl up beautifully and evenly. After that, we flip it head down into the water. Then we're going to cover the pot with a lid and simmer it for exactly an hour and a half. The key is to let it fully cool in the same water. It becomes perfectly tender. For an extra burst of flavor, we're going to add sweet chili sauce. We're going to brush the tentacles with the sauce and spread it evenly with a brush. Next, we'll torch the octopus to give it a smoky aroma and a slight char. And with that, our octopus is ready. We're going to serve it with lemon wedges and a sprig of rosemary for garnish. Now the appetizers of crab, lobster, and scallops baked in a creamy sauce. Let's start with the lobster tail. Using kitchen scissors, we're going to cut along the inside of the tail. Then we'll peel back the shell and remove the entire piece of lobster meat in one piece. Then we'll open the remaining lobsters using the same technique. All the fillets are extracted, but we won't throw away the shells. They're going to come in handy later. Next, let's tackle the crabs. This part is a bit trickier. First, remove the legs and claws. Then open the body and expose the section where the claws were attached. There's meat inside. We scoop out the crab meat with a spoon and then crack open the large claws. The easiest way is using kitchen scissors. Then extract the claw meat. Getting meat from the smaller legs is quite simple. Just cut the joints on both sides and push the meat out with your finger. Using this method, we'll extract meat from all the crabs. Honestly, it turns out to be a pretty small amount. But we won't throw away the crab heads either. We're going to wash them thoroughly so we can reuse them later for plating. The scallops are already cleaned, so all we need to do is slice them. For the lobster fillets, we must remove the digestive tract. We make a small incision and pull out the dark vein. Now they're ready to be cut into medium-sized pieces. For this dish, we'll also need garlic. We're going to peel off the skin, and it seems we've got a mega garlic. Its entire head is one huge clove, so we're going to mince it finely. Now we place a pan on the stove and toss in the garlic, followed by a generous piece of butter. There you go. For aroma, we're going to add 1 sprig of thyme leaves. Now add the seafood to the pan. We're going to sear everything over high heat until a slightly golden crust forms. Perfect. Now add the white wine. Open the bottle first. And pour in about 50 grams. Next, 2 packs of heavy cream. For a touch of aroma, we're going to grate a bit of black truffle, just a small amount to avoid overpowering the seafood's flavor. A little fresh ground black pepper for fragrance, and a pinch of salt for a richer taste, and then stir everything together. While the cream thickens to the right consistency, we're going to arrange the cleaned shell on the baking tray. Once the sauce becomes thick and creamy, remove the pan from the heat. Using a spoon, fill each shell with creamy seafood mixture. This way, the appetizer is portioned and ready to eat. Now we're going to grab the same Gruyere cheese we used for the roulade and grate it finely. And then sprinkle the cheese generously over the top of each stuffed shell. Now preheat the oven to grill mode at 200 degrees Celsius beforehand. Once it's fully heated, we're going to place our stuffed shells inside to bake. This is just going to take 5 minutes. We only need to achieve a beautiful golden cheese crust and let the shells turn a vibrant red. Done. We take them out of the oven and arrange them on our serving plate. The first appetizer for our New Year's table is ready. Now on to the second appetizer, croutons with sturgeon caviar and sea urchin roe. We're going to start with a fresh baguette and slice it diagonally. Perfect. Heat a pan on the stove, drizzle it lightly with oil, and place the baguette slices in. After about 20 seconds, flip them over and toast the other side until both sides have a golden, crispy crust. And just like that, it's no longer just bread, it's croutons. For the spread, cream cheese pairs perfectly with black caviar and spread a medium thick layer. Finally, we'll open the sea urchin roe. For $50, this sea urchin roe doesn't really scream premium. Let's hope it makes up for it in taste. Scoop up some of the roe and spread it over half of each crouton. We'll continue until we've used up all of the sea urchin roe. Next, open the sturgeon caviar. Now that is more like it. Each pearl is perfect and glossy. Spread the sturgeon caviar onto the croutons, filling the remaining space. Now the second appetizer is ready. Now onto the third appetizer, oysters. Although they're traditionally eaten raw, I'm going to bake them with a filling. We're going to take the first oyster and insert a knife near the center to pry it open. Twist the knife and it pops open easily. And then repeat the process. Next, rinse them thoroughly under cold running water to remove any shell fragments. Finally, cut the oyster free from its muscle. We'll arrange all the prepared oysters on a baking tray. For the filling, we're going to need sun-dried tomatoes. Take them out of the jar and chop them finely with a knife. Then transfer them into a bowl. The second ingredient for the filling is fresh spinach, also finely chopped. Then add the tomatoes. Next, we add the herb-infused cream cheese, and then the stracciatella to make the filling extra creamy and tender. All that's left is to season with salt and pepper, and then mix everything together. That's it. Now scoop the filling and top each oyster. All that's left is to bake them. Set the oven to 200 degrees Celsius and bake for 10 minutes. Once a golden crust forms, remove them from the oven. Then plate them beautifully. The third appetizer for our luxurious New Year's feast is ready. Now on to the fourth, and probably the most unusual appetizer, frog legs. We're going to cook them Asian style, first slicing the garlic into medium-sized pieces. Then cut the ginger into thin slices and chop the chili peppers. For garnish, we're going to finely slice the green onions. We'll also use shimeji mushrooms, just trim off the root cluster. First, toss the garlic and ginger into a hot pan. Next, add the frog legs, and then cook them to a golden brown. Next, add the shimeji mushrooms, enoki mushrooms, and chopped chili peppers. Stir-fry everything for about 5 minutes. Next, add oyster sauce. It pairs perfectly with the frog legs. Season with salt and let everything simmer for 10 minutes. With that, the frog legs are fully cooked. Time to plate them up and sprinkle them with chopped green onions. The fourth and final appetizer is ready. Now let's move on to the salad. Our first salad is called Playful Ostrich. We start by opening the package of ostrich fillet. Take it out and place it directly into boiling water to cook. We'll also need to boil 1 ostrich egg. This will take about 45 minutes. Once the meat is cooked, we cut it into slices first. Then cut it into smaller pieces. As for the egg, crack it against the cutting board to break the thick shell. And then peel it. Just look at how thick this shell and membrane are. But here's something strange. The yolk is on the outside. So we're gonna cut the egg in half and see what's going on. It seems that during shipping, the delivery workers played football with her package, causing the egg to mix inside. But no worries, we're gonna grate it anyway. By the way, the yolk of an ostrich egg feels much softer and watery compared to a chicken egg. All done. Next, grate some hard cheese. The star ingredient of this salad is actually oranges. I absolutely hate getting the bitter membranes in my bites, so I peel them with a special technique. First, I slice off the outer peel. And make sure the juicy flesh is exposed on all sides. And then carefully cut the orange segments between the membranes. This gives us perfectly clean orange slices. The final ingredient for our salad is Korean-style carrots. Now we'll assemble the salad with a mold and start by spreading a layer of mayonnaise at the bottom. Our first layer is grated ostrich egg, then a layer of mayonnaise, next the carrots, more mayonnaise, hard cheese, more mayonnaise, ostrich meat, mayonnaise, orange slices. We repeat these layers, alternating everything with mayonnaise. As you can see from the amount of mayonnaise, this salad is anything but healthy, but it's delicious. For the top layer, we arrange the orange slices neatly to cover the entire surface. Now let the salad rest in the fridge, and then it's time to remove the mold. There you have it, playful ostrich salad. The next salad will feature foie gras, artichokes, and figs. We'll start with the foie gras, taking it out of the packaging and slicing it into small pieces. Then season with salt and pepper and place it on a warm pan. Just look at how much fat renders out of the foie gras. Once the pan is hot, flip the pieces to the other side. Another 40 seconds and the foie gras is done. Then prepare the artichokes. This delicate vegetable is actually a flower bud that hasn't yet bloomed. The tough outer leaves are inedible, so we're going to remove them. Now we've reached the tender edible leaves. We've also cut off the remaining green parts because they're also too tough to eat. Slice the artichoke in half and remove the inedible fuzzy center with a teaspoon. To prevent the artichokes from browning, place them in water and lemon juice. Then continue prepping the rest of the artichokes the same way. Once all the artichokes are ready, take them out of the water and transfer them to a heated pan. Sear them for 2 minutes over medium heat and then flip them to cook on the other side. Add a bit of water, season with salt, and drizzle lemon juice over the artichokes. Then cover the pan with a lid and let them simmer for 15 minutes. Once the artichokes are tender, they're ready. Now for the dressing, combine whole grain mustard, honey, salt, and lemon juice. Stir everything together until well mixed in a large bowl, and then add the artichokes and mix fresh salad greens. Then mix all of it once again. Next, we're going to plate the salad onto 2 dishes. On top, we're going to evenly distribute the seared foie gras. Now slice the figs into wedges and use them to garner the salad. For the final ingredient, we're going to cut some blue cheese into small chunks and scatter them across the salad. And with that, our second, lighter salad for the New Year's table is ready. For the side dish, we're going to make saffron risotto with wild mushrooms. Now, the saffron needs to be prepped in advance. We open a small packet of saffron and pour it into a small bowl. Then cover it with a bit of boiling water to release the full aroma and flavor. The saffron needs to steep for about 20 minutes. Meanwhile, we'll prepare the rest of the ingredients. First up, shallots, the sweetest type of onion. Finally, chop them into very small pieces. Beautiful. For the wild mushrooms, I chose honey mushrooms. They have a rich, earthy aroma. Chop them finely as well and prepare them for the risotto. Now mince the garlic, and then head to the stove. Toss the chopped ingredients into the pan and sauté them in butter for about 2 minutes. Add the cuttlefish risotto rice and dry toast it for about a minute. This helps strengthen the outer layer of the grain to prevent it from breaking up during cooking. Then pour in 100 milliliters of dry white wine. The wine adds flavor and helps release the starch from the rice, giving the risotto its creamy texture. Once the wine has evaporated, begin adding chicken broth in small portions and stirring the risotto constantly. This process controls the rice's texture. Then continue adding broth gradually for about 15 minutes. Then stir in the saffron, immediately giving the risotto a rich golden color. Next, add a large piece of butter and stir it until melted. We haven't salted the risotto on purpose because the Parmesan will handle that. Finally, grate the cheese until it melts completely. Now the risotto is ready. Plate it on a large dish. And garnish it with truffle slices, Parmesan shavings, and fresh herbs. Our saffron risotto with wild mushrooms is done. For dessert, we're making cinnamon rolls with coffee filling. First, we're going to take out one of the world's most expensive coffees from its packaging and open it. I wonder if it looks any different from regular coffee. You can see it's damaged from passing through the digestive system and their fermentation marks. Now pour the coffee into the grinder and grind it finely. There. The aroma is slightly different from regular coffee. It has a subtle woody, earthy note. Now we need to brew a very strong coffee. Set the heat on low and wait patiently. Once the foam starts rising, the coffee is ready. For our recipe, we need to strain the coffee using a cheesecloth and fine sieve. The filling for our cinnamon rolls needs to be dry, so we have to turn this brewed coffee into a dry powder without losing the flavor and aroma. That's where a sublimator comes in, a very clever piece of equipment. I'll explain how it works. First, place a tray of coffee into the sublimator shelves. Seal the chamber tightly. Select the appropriate setup, set the parameters, and then start the process. The first step is freezing the coffee solid. Next, the magic step, sublimation. A vacuum pump kicks in, removing all the air from the chamber. Now here's the incredible part. Our coffee starts to dry while still in its frozen state, completely skipping the liquid phase. This is the essence of sublimation. We've preserved the rich flavor and aroma of our ultra-expensive coffee. As you can see, our coffee looks very similar to store-bought instant coffee granules. Now for the filling, we'll need half a tablespoon. Then add cane sugar and cinnamon. Mix everything together. This will be the filling for our cinnamon roll. Now for the dough, pour warm milk into a large bowl. We're going to use the guinea fowl eggs, smaller than chicken eggs and covered with little speckles. Crack 3 of them into the bowl. By the way, their shells are twice as strong as chicken eggs. Now add a packet of yeast, sugar, and flour. And that's it. Place the bowl into a dough mixer and let it knead the dough. Once the dough forms into a ball, we'll add softened butter to the mix. The result is smooth, rich, and elastic. Place the dough back into the bowl and leave it in a warm spot to rise. After an hour, the dough has doubled in size, so we punch it down and roll it with a rolling pin. We're aiming for the longest strip of dough possible. To get a perfect shape, we'll measure it with a ruler and trim the uneven edges using a pizza cutter. Then brush the entire surface with melted butter. Now generously sprinkle the dry coffee cinnamon filling over the buttered dough. Finally, roll the dough. To make one giant cinnamon roll, we'll extend it with another strip of dough. Now place the roll into a baking ring to ensure a perfectly round shape. Cover it with plastic wrap and let it rise for another hour. Once it's ready, remove the wrap and bake the roll in the oven at 180 degrees Celsius. Done. Carefully separate the roll from the ring using a knife and lift it out. We have a massive fragrant pastry, but to turn it into a proper cinnamon roll, we need the signature cream topping. The cream is made with mascarpone cheese, powdered sugar, and a bit of milk to loosen the texture. Then blend everything together with a mixer. Our cream topping is ready. Spread it all over the top of the pastry. Next, pour the salted caramel into the sauce bottle and drizzle it over the cream. Now add some New Year's decorations. And with that, our giant New Year's cinnamon roll is ready. To complete the feast, we're gonna make drinks. We're making a tropical smoothie, starting with a fresh coconut. Crack it open with a knife. It's a drinking coconut full of sweet coconut water. Pour the coconut water into an ice cube tray. Then place it in the freezer. From the remaining 2 coconuts, we're going to pour their coconut water directly into the blender. But we're not done yet. As you know, inside the coconut there should be some flesh. Of course, we're going to use that. So grab a machete and crack the coconuts. Inside is the thin layer of soft coconut, and the easiest way to scoop it out is with a tablespoon. Toss the coconut flesh into the blender. And now the dragon fruit. It has a mild neutral flavor, but we're using it mainly for its vibrant color. Scoop out the flesh with a spoon. Then add it to the blender. Now the papaya. First, remove the seeds and peel it with a vegetable peeler. And shave off another ½ centimeter until we reach the juicy sweet flesh. Cut the papaya into medium-sized pieces and drop them into the blender. Next, take the mango and slice the flesh off the seed. Using a knife, score the mango flesh in a crisscross pattern. And then flip it inside out. And easily scoop it into the blender. The blender is now full, so we'll attach it to the food processor and blend everything into a smoothie. Wow, look at that vibrant, rich color. After 1 minute, it's ready. Pour the smoothie into 2 large pitchers. It looks like one won't be enough. Now grab the pineapple, cut off the bottom and the top, and then slice off all the skin from the sides. Then cut around the tough core, removing the soft, juicy flesh. Then dice the pineapple and toss it into the blender. Up next are the red bananas, which will add sweetness to our tropical smoothie. Peel them and drop them straight into the blender. Just like before, blend the second batch into a smoothie. And pour it into your pitchers. The final fruit is passion fruit. Cut each one in half. Inside, we see these beautiful jelly seeds. We're not going to crush them. They're going to go into the smoothie just as they are, adding a fun, crunchy texture. The last step is the ice cubes we made from the coconut water, which will keep our smoothies cold for a long time. Stir everything gently and it's done. Time to set the table. And that's it, the most expensive New Year's feast is ready. Let's start the tasting with the marbled beef roulade. The meat is tender and super juicy, plus the crust has an incredible wine citrus holiday aroma. Next, try the octopus. Drizzle it with lemon juice and cut off a piece. The octopus is absolutely perfect, pure seafood flavor and so tender, truly amazing. There's also a slight heat and subtle smoky note as if the octopus was lightly grilled. Now the crab lobster scallops in creamy sauce and cheese crust. It's incredibly delicate and perfectly balanced. The truffle is subtle and not overpowering the briny seafood flavor. Next, the oysters with stracciatella cream cheese and sun-dried tomatoes. A solid 10 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic appetizer. Now the croutons with caviar. First, the sea urchin roe. I expected a fresh oceanic flavor, but it actually tastes more like canned fish. So we'll try the side with the black caviar. Now that's more like it, creamy, rich, and luxurious. So if you're thinking about buying canned sea urchin roe, I don't recommend it. Moving on to the frog legs. Tender with a spicy kick. Honestly, if I tried frog legs blindfolded, I would have thought it was chicken, only 10% juicier. We'll try the playful ostrich salad. With chicken, this is my favorite New Year's salad, but with ostrich, it is spot on. Similar to the classic and just as delicious. You should definitely add this to your New Year's table. Now for the salad with the foie gras, artichokes, figs, and blue cheese. Delicious. This salad is fresher and lighter than the previous one, making it a perfect addition to the meal. The most intriguing flavor is the artichoke. It has a nutty herbal taste. Now we'll try the saffron risotto with mushrooms. Incredible. This might be one of the best ways to enjoy rice. Super creamy with a rich mushroom aroma, slight tang from the wine, and a savory kick from the Parmesan. Now it's time to cut into our giant New Year's cinnamon roll. Let's taste it. Soft, fluffy, with creamy frosting, rich caramel, and a bold aroma of coffee and cinnamon. Absolutely perfect for the holiday table. Finally, our tropical smoothie made from 7 fruits. Delicious, well-balanced, and vibrant. One of the most important rules is the New Year's table should be beautiful. If you hit 100,000 likes on this video quickly, I'll do my best to make another New Year's special before the year ends. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and have a happy holidays.